You're listening to the Shit You Can't Make Up podcast, a conversation with friends, hosted by Marisol Sanchez.
Hey, hello.
Hey Marisol, how are you?
I'm hiding my face. I'm good. How are you? Hi, this is Marisol and Beth. And that was our beginning.
That was unrehearsed as usual. We're coming to you from the palatial offices of Seaside Realty.
I've never been here.
Yeah, so hopefully the acoustics will be good.
Yes.
We'll see. Maybe I should shut the door.
I got a call last night from a high school friend, Tina, who listens to the show. And her feedback, well, there's two pieces of funny feedback. One was she said that the volume is annoying.
Okay.
Me, not you.
Okay.
Me. And the other one was that she said, oh, this was funny. She's like, I think I want to do a podcast. Yeah. If you can do one, I can do one.
You can do one. Anybody can do one. And I think there's some truth to that. Like, if we can do one, anybody can do one. So, but, like, you are sort of hard to understand sometimes in, like, real life. Like, I have spent many, many hours in conversation with you, so my ear is more trained to your vocal stylings. Yeah. But I think if you're on the phone or something, you have to spend, it's like a lesson in, you have to really be paying attention.
You have to learn to listen to me. And I mutter, too. Apparently I mutter when I say something funny. To myself, but I think that it's funny.
Yeah, maybe like you just say it like really, really, really quick and like
and laugh.
And then laugh.
So I'm working on all those things. Thank you for doing this with me because I called you yesterday.
Yesterday?
All my days are blurred.
Yeah, it was yesterday.
And I have been trying to post one every Wednesday and do a blog every Thursday, and I haven't done one on my own since the Christmas episode.
Yes.
Which I don't really want to do anymore on my own.
Yeah. So because you had me and Fernando as your muses. Yeah. You didn't want to do one alone, but you do great ones alone, but
I might go back. I had nothing. I was thinking about doing the Super Bowl one.
Yeah.
Because I felt like the Super Bowl is a little bit reminiscent of the holidays because it's something where everyone is tuned in. Well, it feels like everyone's tuned into
one thing,
and we're in North Carolina, so the Panthers are playing.
Did you have a Super Bowl? Did you do anything special for the Super Bowl?
No, I was invited to a few things, and at the end of the day, I was like,
I don't care. I just don't care.
I can't even. When I watched. It was ugly. It was gray, really rainy.
Yeah, it was like the worst day ever. I mean, it was like almost like a nor'easter came through. It was freezing and rainy, and
so I stayed in bed all day.
Okay, that sounds like a good.
And I was actually missing Miami, which sounds weird. This happened. It was Sunday.
It was Sunday.
Okay, so it started Friday. This is all true to Friday. I didn't have my kids this weekend, so Friday I stayed in bed and I started watching, what is it called? Not Desperate. Real Housewives.
The Real Housewives of Miami. Okay.
I'm so embarrassed to admit that. But it was good. I absorbed it like the whole weekend. And I got really good. I was like season 3. And so I was like, I thought I was going to go somewhere and I didn't want to get dressed. I didn't want to just, go watch football.
Yeah.
I wasn't drinking, so I didn't do anything. So I thought I'd jump on and do a podcast, and I'm like, what am I going to talk about?
The Real Housewives of Miami. That's what you're going to talk about.
Football.
The Real Housewives of Wilmington is what.
Yeah, I've thought about that. I've cast it in my head. You would be on it.
That's what we should call our podcast.
Oh my gosh, we should.
Yeah, so we'd have to have a good group of housewives that yeah, we are aging out. Yeah. Well, the Super Bowl is a big deal at our house, and so we had just a few folks over because this time it was really all about the game. We of course did a lot. We did a lot of ribs on the smoker, and cooked a lot of food, and people brought food, but a lot of times it's just about drinking wine and beer and socializing and watching the commercials, and the game is sort of like, even though I'm a big football fan, it's sort of an afterthought. But of course, since the Panthers were in it, we were watching the game, and it was so we just had there's 4 couples, and we're just all hyper focused on the game, and of course it was not going.
I mean, you're huge. You and your husband are huge.
Yes. My husband was in the paper. I don't know if you saw him on Sunday as a Panther fan and had a picture and everything. Yeah. Maybe we can put that in the show notes. I can link it to the Star News. But, so we're big fans. And so, we were all watching the game. It wasn't great. So every time something really bad would happen, we were everybody would switch seats to have better luck. We're not lucky with me sitting in this seat. So I ended up sitting in this lawn chair for one thing good that happened. So then I had to sit there the whole time, but it was not meant to be. So I think everybody was really sort of bummed out. And my husband and son, that was Sunday. It's Wednesday. They're working out of it.
They're working out of it.
My son had his fantasy football team over. So there's a lot of people, really focused on the game. So it was good. But
I didn't have it on because the TV in my bedroom is I just have Netflix and Amazon, so I don't have cable. So
yeah.
So I would check Facebook to see what the update was, and it was go Panthers, pounding before the game, and then nothing. I was like, that's not going well.
You see all the people at the end, we love you, Panthers. See you next year.
Oh. So, and I felt sad for my son first because he's a
big fan.
And then I think you and John were number 2 and 3 because you were sending me emojis of Panther.
Yeah, I actually downloaded some Panther emojis, to use in my texting.
And I downloaded the Kim Kardashian.
They were good. But I'm sure, even though you didn't follow it, did you see some of the hating press on our quarterback, Cam Newton? What did you think about that?
I didn't understand. I didn't read much on it. I mostly read headlines, and I asked people. You were one. I asked my son. I'm like, what's the story? And someone I train with is actually a huge Panthers fan, and he spent the last, Monday working out. I mean, he never writes anything on Facebook, and he wrote this long, long post about the Cam Newton hate and the bandwagon fans.
Bandwagon fans, yeah.
And all these debates, and I thought it was, haters are going to hate. And he seems so nice. And,
yeah.
He's been there for a while, and I like how they've grown, as a team. I don't know anything about football. I'm just saying just as a sports franchise. He seems nice, and the dancing at the end, I would dance if I...
I don't know if you saw this, but on Saturday Night Live, they actually had a skit where Kenan Thompson plays Cam Newton, and I don't know his name, but played Peyton Manning, and so it's legitimate something when they have a skit on Saturday Night Live about it. But yeah, I feel bad for him. I actually, the day after the Super Bowl, and people were saying some really negative things about him because he wasn't super cheerful at the press conference. And I saw something on television where Cam had shared on Instagram a text that his mother had sent him. So I went to Instagram and I pulled up his page, and he had shared a text, and his mom basically, it was a long text, and she was basically saying, God has great things in store for you, and I love you, and it was just a very nice, positive, uplifting message, and he had chosen to share that text on his personal Instagram page. But what struck me is the comments were horrible. I mean, just horrible, horrible things that people were saying on Cam Newton's personal Instagram page about a text that his own mother had sent him. And I mean, homophobic, racist, all these horrible things that they were saying. And I was just thinking, how hard that, I mean, like, who goes on somebody's Facebook page and writes bad things on your Instagram feed and writes bad things? I was like, it's just, and then I saw where we were going to talk about New Hampshire, where Donald Trump, like, said, I'm not even going to repeat it.
I didn't hear what he said.
Oh, you didn't?
I tried to.
He called another man a P.
Okay.
And he said
OPP.
OPP. And I'm like, I know we're explicit and all, but I don't even want to say it. Yeah. And so there was a journalist on saying that basically America has lost all its civility. So I mean, when you have someone who's running for president of the United States calling another man a slur for the female anatomy, I mean, it's
gross, yeah. No, I didn't hear that.
So,
going back to the Super Bowl, I did ask, though. I asked my twins, who are 14, boy, girl. Boy follows football, girl not so much. But she's so in tune with what's going on on the internet.
On the interwebs.
On the interwebs. I asked them about the Cam Newton stuff, and my kid he was just very, like, it's because he's black. That's what he said. And I was like, whoa. And my daughter took the opposite point of view, which they do. That's their dynamic. And she was saying he's cocky and this and that and the other. So it was interesting to listen from their point of view. Again, just reading the headlines. I'm like, so what do you think about this? And it's like, people are just, he's, the old school guard doesn't like that. And I was like, but there have been black quarterbacks before. I know one. McNabb. Like, I remember one. So,
yeah.
So I was surprised. I was sad because, why do people have to hate so much? So much.
Yeah.
Like, he gave a girl football or something and people got mad or something?
No, well, his thing is, and he's been doing this for a long time, is every time he scores a touchdown, which is a lot, and actually the team scores a touchdown, they go and they give a football to a child in the stands. And, I mean, when I say it is a child, usually they're like 12 or under. They're like little kids.
I've seen pictures.
And people, for some reason, really don't like that. And he has, a few signature moves, which are all G-rated and PG-rated, and, like, he does a lot of dancing. And he's 26 years old. I mean, he's closer in age to my 17-year-old son and all his 17-year-old friends than me. Like, I could be his mother. I mean, he's a young man, and, like, he's just has a lot of joy, and he likes celebrating, and he likes winning. And I think when you're not on that team, it's hard to watch. People just don't like it. They don't like him. And I don't know about it. I don't want to say if it's racist or not. But, there are people that do the same thing that are not black that don't get called out for the same things. So, so I feel bad for him. I hope that, I know and I was bummed too, but, like, I can't imagine how he feels after. I mean, he was just, like, super hyped up.
And they had a great season.
They had a great season.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that's as much as I can talk about football. I'm sorry. You moved us to New Hampshire and I brought us back.
No, well, yeah, I mean, like, yes. So I do, I mean, it's just interesting what people feel that they can say in the anonymity of the internet. Like,
I'm hesitant with the whole on this podcast, the Facebook thing, on the new website I'm working on, to leave comments, because I'm just honest. I don't have the self-esteem to deal with hate. Like, I just don't want to read it. Like, I don't want to consume it because it will stay in my head. I mean, there's not enough yoga or,
Right. Well, that is one thing. Like, when you're doing a podcast or anything creatively personal, which is what this is very personal. We're sitting here chatting, and whoever wants to listen to it can listen to it and weigh in on, our wittiness or lack thereof. And it is sort of hard when you put yourself out there to think that people that we don't even know can comment and have opinions about us based on this.
Yeah, I'm good with construct. I get a lot of construct from my family and friends who listen. A lot, but But I haven't gotten any. I mean, I guess I got a little bit of hate, but that was more of a dating situation than this situation. That like, oh, she's so full of herself. You know, she has a podcast. Blah,
wow.
blah, blah. I'm like, yeah, I'm so full of myself. You haven't met me.
Yeah.
But I think I worry about that, you know. But I think it's I know all these kids on YouTube and all the comments. That's what scares me about the kids, you know, like how they start to put themselves out there, what they get, what they see, and so on.
Yeah. Well, and that's, I mean, not to bring it back to the Super Bowl and Cam, but like I do follow, you know, on Facebook and Instagram a lot of Panther sites and Cam sites and some of the other players. I mean, I'm along with a ton of other people, and I mean that people are, you know, following and looking at. But I think that's what it's hard that sure, nobody wants them to lose the Super Bowl, but like seeing the things that people write on every site, it's just like very, I don't know, it's very depressing. And they're writing about somebody that I don't even know. Like, I'm not even...
It's not your squad.
It's not, And so, like, to think about what comes around for ourselves and our children and what people...
I just don't even, like, I mean, I would probably not read it. I mean,
I hope he doesn't read any of it because it made me feel terrible for him. So,
sad.
But so are you already following any politics, Miss Politico?
I'm not Miss. I used to be Miss Politico. No, I am very on the peripheral. We've known each other long enough to remember when. Bush 1
yes.
president, or no, Bush 2.
Bush 2, yeah.
Bush 2, which I think did me in.
The dub, yeah.
This did me in, and so I don't watch it with as much vigor as I used to. I don't watch 24-hour news cycles. I used to be like you were for the football. That's how I was for every convention, both sides.
Right.
Every debate.
You're following it all. You're
I was on
weighing it. Yeah.
Everything. I would go volunteer day of the election. Go to Myrtle Beach for John Edward. I was in it.
I remember.
Yes. I dressed my little twins up in anti-Bush onesies that I made for them, like the only thing I made for them.
Too bad I didn't have Pinterest back then.
Exactly. Got viral with that one. But around, the whole time that I probably before the divorce, when I started to look into, trying not to be unhappy.
Right.
I actually was a yoga teacher. As a yoga teacher said, be mindful of what you're consuming.
Yeah.
And visually, and I started to notice that I had, Chris Matthews on, who was always angry, and,
right.
MSNBC on 24/7, and then I stopped. I just kind of stopped and detoxed a little bit, but then I never went back. Now I can't go back because
it's just too.
Yeah, I find the information in other ways.
Depressing.
Yeah, and then that just seems more of the media to me is just kind of a joke. I don't think we really have a fourth estate. I think we have conglomerates. I'm going to sound like a conspiracy theorist, but I feel like we have conglomerates who run everything, and every politician will let me down.
Yeah.
Every single one, doesn't matter what side. I know we know people that are in politics. I hate to be so, broad, but I just feel like if you get to that point in politics, the presidential, you've sold your soul. Like, I don't care what side you're on. You've made some deals with some shady people. I still vote.
Yeah. Well, I think they just say, I think so much of them say what they have to say based on whatever poll number has, or whatever,
or they don't even
analyst tells them they need to say, so they can get this section of the population to, look at them closer. It's just, but it's crazy right now.
The old me would have, probably been feeling the burn and being all into Bernie Sanders.
Yeah.
But I'm left of left, and I've always been left of left. And I think, I think you and I kind of talked about this a little bit off the mic, but I kind of feel like this is one thing that I came to on my own. Like, it wasn't an interject that I got from my parents. My parents didn't really talk politics. Some things I think my mom might have been liberal on, maybe, but she also had that Christian conservative thing about her. So I don't know. It was never. So I remember being little. I remember watching Ronald Reagan. Gosh, sorry, I'm covered in lint. And just listening to him and thinking, that doesn't sound right. You know, as a little girl. I remember Michael Dukakis in the helmet and that thing, and I'm like, that's not going to go over well. Like, and except for Bush 2000, even as a little girl, I could pretty much feel like I could call who was going to win. Even people would be surprised, but now I just look at all of it. It's like a circus.
Yeah.
And I've always kind of been hard on the right.
Right.
But moving here has corrected me of
speaking your mind. Because all your friends are registered Republican.
Every one of them. No, not every single one, but most of them. But I just, I look to the right, and those candidates just look crazy to me. They have, though. I've always had that opinion. But more so, like, if I wanted to, like, John McCain was the last one. John McCain, before Sarah Palin, the John McCain, I thought was the last sane Republican candidate for president that so I look over there, I look at Donald Trump, and I can't bear it. I can't. He was on a TV show. He fired people.
He's got a body of work before this. This is not very presidential. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what to say about him. I guess he's going to get the nomination. What do you think? I don't know. I think the Republicans are not smart if he gets the nomination, because I feel like that will be the kiss of death for them. Like, I think that's almost like a shoo-in for whichever Democratic candidate.
No. I thought the most threatening of the Republicans was Rubio, because he's Hispanic, and I thought he'd take Miami, Florida. But then I didn't watch it, but I heard he didn't do very good at one of the debates, and what I did read about him was that maybe he's not ready for prime time. So,
they're really coming down hard on him right now. It is sort of amazing how the media can spin
anything.
Like something. Like, he could have, his debate, he repeated the same line a few times about Barack Obama. And, I mean, I'm just looking at all this through the media. I didn't watch the debate. I can't watch them until we get closer to election. We've been debating for, it seems like a decade. But I don't know if the average person would have thought, I think they would have thought that was, I don't know what the average person would have thought, but I don't think they would have made it into, spun it into what the media has spun it into.
Yeah. And that's on both sides. Both sides can take one little snippet and then just, and when I used to be all in on politics, I would take the bait and be all about whatever snippet they gave me. And then when I kind of detoxed from politics, I realized how often I was taking the bait, like how often a little soundbite repeated over and over and over, that I would go repeat it at the dinner party,
Right.
So the media to me it's hard. I don't think we have a democracy. I think we have an oligarchy. Is that how you pronounce it?
I don't know. What is that?
Money controls.
Money controls everything.
Yeah.
Well.
And then on the left, I mean, like Obama. I was so happy when he first won the first election. And then he was like the last bit of idealism that I had being a liberal. He killed it.
Right. So, and you're you're very smart. And so I remember you being very, 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 Obama supporter. And so, how do you feel now, 8 years later?
I think he's done as good a job as he could have done with what was handed to him. I think we always, when people go off on him and say the things that they say. I'm like, okay, do we remember what 2008, 9 looked like? Because I do. Mm-hmm. I remember the hit to my wallet, Mm-hmm. So I think he did okay. I was disappointed with healthcare. But I will always be disappointed with healthcare because the whole system is just, that's another podcast. I want a single payer, a real true single payer system. So I was disappointed with that. But mostly I was mostly disappointed with him with his foreign policy. The drone. He killed more people. The biggest thing that offended me about Bush was the drone policy, because it's children. The number of children that die in collateral jam. It's just, I don't know. I don't think a debate was held to the standards I would like before our military complex. Just, I am not an expert, but that was my views. And he's done more damage in that area. And I don't know if damage is the right word, but he's killed more people with drones than Bush ever did. So that was it. But, sadly, I still voted for him again the second time around. Who was against him the second time around?
Romney.
Okay.
Right?
So, yeah. So, I don't think I was given a viable candidate on the other side to even not vote for him. Which I think that's like a failure in the Republican. I keep thinking if you guys, if the Republican Party, when I used to think of Republicans, I used to think of the preppy country club, conservative, fiscally conservative, which I kind of gotten fiscally conservative the older I get. I don't want the government taking my money and not doing anything that I want with it. But if you stuck to that, you guys would, I think, totally run the show.
Right.
But I think your far right versus our far left is crazier. Like, it comes off crazier in the media. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And goes against socially where I think the country is.
Right.
And so that keeps, I think you could have a huge swing of people if religion was taken out of politics and if some social issues that at dinner parties all my friends kind of agree with, but the people representing that party don't promote.
Right. Because, they're trying to sort of, every time they lose an election, they're like, oh, we have to be more conservative.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's the case. I think they need to be...
Not more liberal, but more themselves.
Yeah, more, right. They don't need to go as far to the right on social issues but they keep, that's their mantra. And so...
And then on the left, geez.
Because a lot of people don't understand, the more complicated issues of the presidency, foreign policy. But they understand some of the social issues, and so...
Or, an example like climate change, that even a huge portion of that side says it doesn't exist, or it's, not an issue, is, or that we're making it up.
It's being made up.
I think it just doesn't allow for real conversation. I feel like you can't have any real conversation on anything political. But I feel like I've been dissing the Republicans. I feel the same way about the left. I look at that. Come on, Hillary. Let me take a deep breath. I predict it's going to be Hillary. You never know.
Mm-hmm.
But nothing has stuck to this woman. Nothing. They've thrown her husband, Michael, Bill, and she's still there. She's not in the lead. You got Bernie. You got the far left really excited about Bernie. Bernie's never going to... this is my... I guess I can say this is,
This is your podcast, Marisol. You can say whatever you want.
If I can get elected.
Yeah.
I would love it. I would love for his socialist pot legalization, all that to come to fruition. It's not.
Well, and what do you think about Bernie also being 73 years old?
Exactly.
Does that factor? I mean, should that factor in? I
It
mean,
depends who's vice president. If he were to be picked,
yeah,
that would be way more.
yeah,
His no, and the thing with Hillary, so I think Hillary is probably going to be not only the nominee. I think she's probably going to be the next president.
mm-hmm.
And then, mind you, people on the left, the people in it right now, don't agree with me. They're feeling the burn, and
But the people that are feeling the burn are going to vote for Hillary.
Yeah, that's the
right
after the primary. Because in the primaries, both parties go to their far corners. They go to the far right, far left, and then at the election cycle, you go back to the middle, so that people who are paying attention will vote for you. And I think what Hillary has, and I know it's not politically correct to say, but I think the fact that she's a woman is going to be a big positive for her, because I'm fucking done with men. They've had it.
We should pick the first book for our book club. Well, and I think, I mean, like, it's not like we're political genius minds at work, but, like, there's people that are not going to, there are people that are not going to vote for Hillary no matter what. And there are people that are not going to vote for Donald Trump no matter what. And I think the not voting for Donald Trump is bigger.
Yeah.
Like, if you're just like a moderate anybody, and you're left between Hillary and Donald Trump, which way it's going to go?
I think Hillary, the factor with Hillary is the women and women who have daughters. I think even Sarah Palin, when Sarah Palin was picked, it was nice to see it reflected, a woman in politics. I mean, it's so sad, it's so pathetic. That we're not. Other countries have had female leaders, and I think most. I don't know exactly what the statistic is, but I think most of them have. Some as far back as the 70s, The only thing about Hillary is I just wish she had Sarah Palin's style. I do, like, what's with the pants? It's just,
Don't be a hater, Marisol.
I'm not a huge fan, but I do think, she gets some shit done. I think she gets some shit done. She's tough. She's tough as, I think she's tougher than Bill. I think she, I don't want to even think about the Clintons back in the White House. Don't want to think about it.
We really jumped deep into the politics, which we weren't really expecting to do.
Especially since I've just admitted that I don't really follow it. I used to be all in 529.com.
I remember that. I don't think I've ever told you this, but I remember when Barack Obama was running for president, I almost had to say, I'm not going to be your friend anymore.
Oh, really?
And it wasn't because you had a differing political...
Was I talking too much?
That's all. I can remember just it going... repeating itself over, and that's all you could really. You were really passionate about it, and I was like, I can't do this anymore.
And he killed it. I mean, and it was really quickly after the election. It was within the year. I was like, really, and then seeing things that he saw. I really thought he was going to be a different candidate.
Yeah, a different president.
A different president. Yeah. Still better than I'm sure Romney would have been. But yeah, I think I self-corrected myself on that, because that's like a fool's errand to get passionate about politics at this point, because I feel like we have so little control over it.
We have so little control over it, and then once they are elected, there's even less
another
control.
Thing that kind of cemented that was Sandy Hook, when Sandy Hook happened. Second Amendment's very clear. It's in the Constitution. I'm not trying to take anyone's guns away. I've never shot a gun, don't have a gun, don't like guns. Do you think we have a gun issue in this country? We're raising our children differently than we raised ourselves, because I wasn't worried about getting shot up at middle school.
No, it's horrible.
But we can't have a dialogue. You can't have a conversation about it, because everyone goes to their corners, and you believe what you believe, and that's it. And then when was it Sandy Hook with the children?
Yeah, Sandy Hook.
When I saw that and I realized nothing changed.
Yeah.
And it's all those children, the parents, and I was like, oh, I just kind of felt like
it's like if that doesn't change something, what will?
Yeah, I mean,
and we're just like so immune. That's the thing is we're in the press. Things like not like Sandy Hook, but like things happen like that all the time, and we're just so immune to it that it barely makes the news.
Yeah, it's very sad.
It is very sad, and the fact that our children today, like I remember being in school, and you'd have a tornado drill, and now they're having like mock like lockdowns and shutdowns. And
I remember a few years ago I had a few Girl Scouts in my car, and I was just listening to them talking, and they were talking about what they would do if a shooter came in. They were like, and I was just
something we would never even considered that. Yes.
So I could be wrong, but my prediction is, I think I don't know on the Republican side who's going to win the nomination. Yeah. It looks like Donald Trump.
It's really unbelievable. And he is like, I think you said it, he's like Teflon. He can say things, Marco Rubio is being drugged through the media right now because he said Barack Obama knows what exactly what he's doing like 4 times in a debate. And like Trump says anything.
If you see Meg Ryan or whatever, the girl from Fox News, or Meg Kelly, said something just so misogynist. I don't remember what it was.
He said he was referencing a period, like bleeding.
Yeah.
Bleeding. And like, really? Yeah. And then what he said, now I'm taking it out of context because I'm just going to use it as like a quote, but he said, I could shoot somebody in the middle of Fifth Avenue right now and still get the nomination, which that's what he actually said. And I don't know why people, but
I think it's just your benches. I'm going to use a football analogy. Okay. I think your bench is very weak. I think it's been weak for a few years on the right side. It's just, and I do think it's been because of what we talked about earlier about the social stuff. But yeah, that he came out of not nowhere, but everywhere.
Yeah. Well, and I think people are just tired. It's like you said. It's like tired of politics as usual, and so he represents. No, he does not represent anything political. Yeah. And so I think a lot of people. I knew a lot of people that were like really pro Donald Trump at the very beginning when he was just sort of like putting it out there and like saying, "Oh, I just love how he's just saying it like it is," and I'm like, really? And I don't know if they still feel that way with all this that's gone on, but I think a lot of people just thought it was a breath of fresh air based on the same old. Yeah,
I get that. When he first came out, it was like the anti-establishment candidate, and he was just saying
yeah.
And then I think for me, it just flipped. I was never thought of him as a legitimate candidate, but it changed for me when he said something about immigrants, because I remember thinking about my aunt, and I was like, because it was the anniversary of her passing, or it is the anniversary, and I was thinking about her, and I was just like, my aunt, my mom, all the immigrants, my whole family, they work their asses off. Like, they aren't what he's representing. So, and I have 2 cousins on my Spanish side of the family who, at Thanksgiving, were, like, pro-Donald Trump. I'm like, you all are some self-hating Latinos. Like, I'm not a self-hating Latina. You 2 are self-hating Latinos. But I know, but if it's him and Hillary, I bet the tide would turn for women voting more for Hillary, because I'm sure he's going to say some misogynistic crap that's going to piss off the women and be like, fuck this shit. And, that's how I feel. I could be wrong, but I've just felt...
I think it's inevitable. Yeah. I don't think... He can't really... I haven't seen him yet have any kind of...
filter?
Dialogue with a woman.
Yeah.
Except for his daughter.
That's even creepy. The stuff he says about, like, I don't know if that's media. I've seen that stuff on a few different videos and stuff on Facebook. The stuff he says about Ivanka, like, you know, she has a great body. I do her. I'm like,
what?
You haven't
Oh my
seen
God.
that stuff?
No.
I'll forward you some. Yeah, he has said some stuff about his daughter that, and it's on video. It's not like, you know, made up stuff. It's like, yeah, that's creepy. That's wrong. And his daughter's like sitting there with a big smile on her face, like, here's something that's just not right. You know, she's beautiful. If she wasn't my daughter, things that I don't know any father to say about their daughter. So,
yeah.
Yeah. It'll be interesting. I don't know what's going to happen. I think he'll take it, unless he can combust, too. But then who do you have, Cruz or Rubio? I thought Rubio was going to be. He was the one I was scared of. But
Yeah. I don't know. We'll see how it all plays out.
it's whoever Koch brothers
And believe
decide.
me, what?
Whoever the Koch brothers decide. Koch brothers, Koch.
Yeah, we'll see how it plays out, and goodness knows, between now and November, that's all it's gonna be a steady diet of it, so. But, we were thinking about having a little book club.
Yeah.
Like you and I.
A virtual.
Yeah, Marisol's podcast, virtual book club, and so we're going to pick a book today, and you and I are going to theoretically read it, right?
Theoretically.
Theoretically, we're going to read it, and then we're going to discuss it in 4 weeks, a month. And
what did we pick?
we picked Bossy Pants by Tina Fey, and which is something, it's not brand new, but so hopefully it should be out in the library or paperback, and so we would love to have any listeners who want to read with us, and then maybe when we get closer, if people have like questions they want to ask about the book or topics, we can talk about that. But
that would be interesting.
I've heard it's like super laugh out loud funny. Like I've heard people talk about it that like they've read it on planes and stuff, and they've like literally laughed out loud.
She's
so
funny.
yeah, she's super funny.
Well, I'm excited to read that. I'm excited.
Yeah, you look real excited.
I haven't slept. I've not. I told you before. I was had insomnia last night, and I'm like that. Dull ache behind your eyes.
Yeah.
Where you're just counting down the moments till you can crawl back in bed.
Yeah.
That's where I'm at. And it was weird. It was because it was I fell asleep, but I woke up around 1, and I knew I was like, okay. Questionable on the Ambien, like if I could take, because
it's too late.
And plus, I don't think I can take Ambien anymore, because every single time I've taken Ambien, I text someone inappropriately. Like I've taken Ambien before, and I've had no problems. Don't drive, don't do anything. But I've now, for the first time in my life, done stuff that I don't remember doing the next morning. That I'm like, I look at my text, and I'm like, what happened here? So I'm a little bit leery of taking Ambien.
Yeah. You're texting while on Ambien, like, so tell me what's something funny that you texted? Can you say anything?
It wasn't funny. It was all sexual, and it was inappropriate. Nothing funny about it. It was sad.
It was sad?
No, I'm kidding. I was it's I guess people that I don't know how to say this without revealing too much. My freak flag that I have, and I have a freak flag, comes up apparently when
you're on Ambien.
When I'm on Ambien, and then I text people about my freak flag. So at least those texts get out. I'm really like, I was really surprised, because this person is the second time I texted them when
on Ambien.
Went on Ambien.
No texting while on Ambien. Yeah.
And this time I'm like, I'm really sorry. I
texted you again.
Yeah. And this person knows, so they were fine. They were cool with it, but it was just like, oh, I can't do that anymore.
So yeah, no more Ambien for you. I think you need to or like lock your
melatonin.
Lock your phone away, or some put some like passcode on that you're not going to remember, and you have to go look up somewhere. But
it was a little scary because I've heard of people doing Ambien and having issues or not remembering that you're driving.
Yeah. I think I always saw that happened like when people take an Ambien and then they try to fight the Ambien.
Yeah.
Like,
and then they talk.
Yeah. I'm like, I used to take Ambien a long time ago, and I remember once, like, and this is, the anti of your story, but I was, like, making, like, a breakfast casserole, and I apparently was, like, so not a freak flag, but, like, so I remember I was apparently chatting away about whether or not I should put green chilies in the breakfast casserole, and then the next morning, somebody said, it was all in my family, like, at Christmas or something, and it's like, you were really debating putting those green chilies in last night, but I think it like tastes really good. And I'm like, oh, okay. Well, I didn't remember. Not only did I remember debating green chilies, I didn't even remember making the casserole.
Yeah,
so, but I think that happens if you take an Ambien and then you stay awake. Like you need to like just go to bed, like lay down, close your eyes, and take it, and then
I think I popped it like at 8, hoping for like a 9:30 bedtime. And I don't know what time I was texting this person. I do remember the feeling of the next morning seeing their names, the first name on the text, and I was like, "Whoa!"
Did they text back?
Oh yeah.
Just tell me, was it a text exchange or was it just like a text and a text back?
It was a text exchange, but it was. I mean, I guess if I'm going to throw it out there, I should just be more open about it. It was basically like,
wait, hold on.
No, it's basically just inquiring as to how this person was doing, which is my code for like, all right, hey, how's your freak flag going? And I think actually that was my text. Is your freak flag flying? To me,
because mine is. So I think on that note, we should wrap it up. So
I'm back on iTunes.
Yay, back on iTunes. So
I'm on Stitcher too. I'm trying to blog something in relation to the podcast on Thursdays. I'm not going to even predict what this podcast is about or format or anything because nothing I've said. But I've enjoyed doing it. Like I got excited thinking about doing it. Like this is a great hobby. To have, and I do the energy around doing it, not the technical stuff,
right.
But the podcast itself I enjoy. I would like to interact more with the people. I know that we have a nice number of people that listen. I wish they would interact more on social media.
Well, maybe with the book club they'll do that. Yeah. So hopefully we'll get a little interaction, and it'll be fun.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
All right, thank you for coming, and we'll see you next week.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye.